What is up, everybody on YouTube? Max Rock here with another video. And for today's video, I'm going to be talking about Samsung Galaxy J7 perks. Just want to talk about this for a moment. Oh, I'm using the J7 as well. To record the video, I'm using the Axon. But anyway, the reason I'm talking about this phone is because it's like a lot of mix and match. Well, it's a lot of different sites out there saying that the J7 is going to have these specs, it's going to have those specs, and it's not that those different sites or whatever, they're wrong. It's not that they're wrong at all. It's just that I think what's going to happen is just, like what's always been happening with the other companies is that the J7 is going to be released unlocked. It's going to be released with other carriers, and within all those carriers and with it being unlocked, there's going to be different models that have different specs. And so, as far as the Boost Mobile Edition here, from what I'm reading, the Boost Mobile Edition is supposed to have Android 7.0, which is, of course, supposed to have a 5.5-inch touchscreen display, 8-megapixel rear-facing camera, and a 5-megapixel front-facing camera. So, true that the J7 from last year has a 13-megapixel camera and has a 5-megapixel camera, so they did downgrade the specs. Now, this is all in case you didn't know, this is all, speculation here. I don't want to say everything is like concrete because it could be saying one thing on this site and on this, not on this site, but on this, I guess this little leak tab here. In case you didn't see the video, Dragonic Warfare, he made a video discussing the J7 and his perks, and his specs. But in case this is all true here, it says it's going to have the 8-megapixel rear-facing camera, 5 in the front. You get 16 gigs of RAM and 2 gigs of RAM. You get a bigger battery than last year, which is 3,300 milliamp, up to 32 gigabyte micro SD card compatible expansion, and it has a quad-core 2.2 gigahertz processor. So here's the thing about this this model here that Boost Mobile was supposed to be having. There are quite a few downgrades. I'm not sure if the screen is going to be Super AMOLED anymore. I'm not sure if that 2.2 gigahertz quad-core processor is, because don't get me wrong, 2.2 gigahertz quad-core is still a really good processor, but it's not an octa-core. I just thought that was kind of weird. I mean, something that's clocked slightly lower, but it's octa-core, will probably still perform the same as a 2.2 gigahertz quad-core processor, but it's just kind of one of those things where we got to see how it works in person, get the phone in hand and use it to see how it actually performs. I don't want to say that it's you know what, you got to call it this what it is. It is a downgrade from last year, but at the price of $199, so $199.99, it is a little bit more than the Stylo 2 or Stylo 3, excuse me. It is a bit cheaper than what they originally launched the one from last year price at. I think it was like $249 or something like that. The specs are lowered, and I think it's a case where Sprint or other companies are getting J7 with the better specs, whether it has the octa-core processor, the 13 megapixel camera in the back. I think some of them have 3 gigs of RAM. I just wish that this model could have had, on the Boost Mobile one, could have had 3 gigs of RAM with 32 gigabytes of storage. Like if they could have made the phone the same price from last year, which something that they already did, you know what I'm saying, because they dropped the phone at that price, which is $249. If they could have made the phone that same price but with a little bit better specs, meaning like give you the 3 gigs of RAM, give you the 32 gigabytes of storage, give you the quad-core processor, give you the 720p, because even 1080p is still a good screen without it being Super AMOLED, but I'd rather have the Super AMOLED at 720p, give you that, give you the bigger battery, have Android Nougat 7.0, and charge the $249 price. I think that would have been a better idea, but I guess they were trying to keep this device priced as low as possible, which makes sense. But if you dropped the phone last year that was $250 and you could have dropped the phone this year at the same price with better specs, that would have made more sense because you already had customers who were willing to buy the phone at that price, and let alone it going on sale and people buying it as well. So I feel like they could have dropped the phone at that same price point and gave you a little bit better specs because people already bought it last year. So why wouldn't they want to upgrade this year? Now it's a case, in my opinion, where they might not end up upgrading to this phone. Is it because when you upgrade from a phone that you have to a new phone, you usually go to that phone with better specs? And with the J7 from last year on Boost, the specs aren't that much better from this year's model to last year's model, meaning like you get a slightly bigger battery, you get a new software, you get the new software which is 7.0, and you get that's pretty much it. You get a different build. Everything else is just, it's not going to be necessarily better than the Super AMOLED. It's not going to be necessarily better than the one from last year. And plus, with the screen not being Super AMOLED anymore, a 720 Super AMOLED screen is probably better than a 1080p screen, in my opinion. So there are other spec sheets out there that say that the camera itself, the camera is 13 megapixels on the unlocked version, or not even the unlocked version, another version of the phone, and it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive. But I feel like they should have, dropped the phone at the same price point from last year and put in some better specs if they could have, or if they had to, they probably could have dropped something else. They probably could have took a chance with this phone and put it at the $299 range, where the Moto G4 is, and give it 4 gigs of RAM with 64 gigabytes of storage. Give it a 1080p Super AMOLED screen. You get a octa-core processor. You could probably get the 625 in there, the 652. One of those processors, they could have did that. They could have challenged Motorola, but I think what they went with here was trying to keep it below the $200 range, which technically $199.99 is below $200. But after taxes, we all know you end up paying more than that. But I think they try to keep it under that range there to compete with the other phones that Boost Mobile has have on offer. But if Samsung wanted to really make noise in the market, I feel like they could have did that. They could have challenged Motorola with the Moto G4, with the Moto G5 Plus. Just some thoughts there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you like the J7 perks that Boost Mobile? I can't talk. The J7 perks that Boost Mobile was getting ready to drop. April 17th. April 17th. You guys think it's an upgrade, or you guys think it's a downgrade? Would it be worth the purchase? You plan on getting this phone when it goes down in price? Because we all know eventually it's probably gonna go down on sale one day, $129, maybe even $100. Because if it goes down to that price point, then I'll go ahead and get it. But until then, I'm probably gonna have to skip it, because a phone that came out last year, in my opinion, is better than the one that's coming out this year, and it's kind of moving backwards. So anyway, as you guys know, my name is Max Rock. I want to say, of course, thank you for watching this video. You guys have a good day. Peace.